Man, I really need to clean this camera. What's up guys, welcome back. Unfortunately, we are currently waiting for a numerous amount of small parts that we need in order to knock out bigger jobs. And it's been raining non-stop in Florida. And as you guys know, we are forced to work in the driveway. So when it's raining, I gotta stay inside and I'm basically just sitting in there like, what do I do with my hands? Because all I wanna do is work on the car and there's so much to be done still that I just feel like rainy days are time wasted. But I mean, there's really nothing I could do until we can afford a garage of our own. But yeah, that being said, I have been knocking out a few small things here and there behind the scenes, things that just needed to get done in order to get us closer to where we need to be. So today is just going to be an update video. I'm gonna kind of walk you guys around the car, show you all the little things that I've been getting done. And yeah, so I guess we're gonna start with the most obvious thing, that the fenders and the front bumper are back on the car now. I got all of the hardware in and secured. The fenders are aligned with the hood, and then I put the front bumper on, got that bolted up, and our fitment as far as the intercooler goes is looking lovely. So I'm stoked on that because I haven't really put the bumper back on the car since we did the whole tubular front end, and I had to gauge where the radiator and the intercooler sat all from scratch because all of that is new. So I kind of just took some measurements and lined all that up where I thought was going to be good. And now that everything is back together, it turns out that we are good to go. And I am happy with the fitment of the bumper as far as the intercooler goes. I was worried that, you know, it would be a little bit too high or too low, but we got it spot on. So I'm stoked on that. And then I also ran some brand new cables from the starter inside the car, as well as from the alternator inside the car. Got the alternator all wired up out here in the engine bay, and then I put the starter cable and the alternator cable together and put this nice wire loom over those two cables, and you guys can see that that just runs into the car and it looks super clean. And then I also got two of the Holley sensors installed on the lower intake manifold, so that way once we start running the Holley harness, we could just plug them in and be good to go. So that's sick. Also, you guys look here, we got a new master cylinder. The previous master cylinder that I had on the car was the factory one, and it looks like the big tub that I guess is like has to do with the vacuum or whatever was cracked, and the previous owner tried to like silicone it shut and it looked horrible, and I don't know how safe that is. So being as we are doing a complete overhaul on the car, I figured a new manual master cylinder and manual brakes upgrade would be ideal. So yeah, that's what we did. That's a strange manual master cylinder, so that's installed. And then something that you guys don't really know, or something that's not really said often, or I have not come across in videos online, is when you go to a tubular front end, you don't really realize, but there's a bracket that comes off of your clutch cable that mounts to the portion of sheet metal that goes right here. So once you cut all this out and it's a tube front end, you no longer have an area to mount the bracket for the clutch cable. So what I did was just remove the bracket on the clutch cable, and then we just zip tied it to the shock tower. So yeah, that's looking good and in place. We also got the steering rack on the car, and that went smoothly. I am currently waiting for toe plates to come in the mail so we can adjust the tires, make sure they're straight, and then we can adjust the steering rack and get it bolted up to where it needs to be. But yeah, I didn't want to bolt that up yet until we have some toe plates, and I can make sure, like right now you guys can kind of tell that the wheel is pushed out. So once we have toe plates, we can confirm that both wheels are perfectly straight, and then we'll adjust the steering rack and then get it bolted up. And yeah, we're looking pretty damn good out here. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Another thing that I didn't even mention to you guys, which is like crazy, but after we put the tubular K-member in the car with the solid motor mounts and everything was lined back up and good to go, I went to go close my hood, and it no longer closed because the up pipe, or our exhaust, did not fit through the hole in the hood anymore. So I had to basically before I did anything, I tried to adjust it as much as possible to see if like we can get away with just adjusting it. I loosened the V-band, tried to adjust it to get it to come out of where it needed to be, and it was no good, boys. I think what had happened was the factory engine mounts that we had in the car were so worn out that the engine was probably sitting a little bit low, and that's when I did all of our measurements and got the original up pipe fabricated and made. So now that we have new engine mounts, the engine is sitting where it should be, which pushed it up a little bit, which sat the exhaust a little bit too high, and it just would not fit no matter how much I adjusted it. So I literally had to unwrap the entire up pipe, cut it up, take more measurements, re-weld it, and then rewrap it, and now we're good to go. It fits through the hood again, but that was a whole job in itself. And then if you look in here, we got the pedal assembly back in the car, and the brake pedal is now readjusted and connected to the new master cylinder. I got the clutch reconnected and the accelerator pedal reconnected, so that's all good. So once we get the toe plates in and we get the steering rack adjusted, then we can go ahead and get the new steering column in, and at that point, I mean, she'll start to look like a car again, boys. So yeah, here you can see the cables coming through the firewall. The loom ends right there, and then all of my cables are just thrown in the car for now. Like I said in previous videos, I'll get all of this stuff dialed in and finalized once we have the fuse/relay panel mounted, and that way I know exactly how everything needs to be ran. We still have all of these cables for the brake lights and stuff thrown there, which is not a priority at the moment. But yeah, so pretty soon here I plan on throwing the dash back into the car, so that way we can see exactly how much room we have to work with behind the dash, and we can start mocking up the fuse/relay panel. And once that's bolted to the car, then we can start you know, cleaning up the wires and running them exactly how they're going to be ran. So yeah, stoked on that. We are making huge progress. Still have so much to do, but little by little we are making progress. Like I said earlier, we're still waiting on quite a few small things in order to be able to knock out bigger jobs, like some AN fittings, because the fuel system that we bought did come with plenty of AN fittings, but Miss Parker is not a factory Fox body anymore, so we're not running the fuel lines exactly how they recommend you to run them in the instructions. We're changing things up a bit, so in order to do that I did need a couple AN fittings that were not in the kit, so those are on order, as well as some braided steel brake lines to plumb the calipers to the inside of the fender well, where then they'll be met with hard lines, and then the hard lines will come up to the master cylinder. And since we went to a manual brake conversion, or since we went to a manual brake conversion, does that make sense? I don't know, you guys know what I mean. The factory brake lines that ran across the firewall there no longer work. They did not line up, so you have to run new brake lines anyway once you go to a manual brake conversion. So my plan is to run the hard lines on the inside of the cowl area there. I guess your average person probably wouldn't even notice it, but to me it was kind of an eyesore, especially since we're doing so much work. I don't want to just run two brake lines across the firewall again. So yeah, my idea is going to be to run the two hard lines directly into this shock tower, and then on the inside of the fender well is where they'll bend up and go into the cowl area, come across to the passenger side. Then we could plumb the passenger caliper and then have the line, or the one line, run back to the rear brakes. So yeah, we got a lot on our plate still, but I mean, compared to where she was about a month ago, we are looking good. So I'm stoked. There's not really much else to say. She's gone through some big changes, but honestly, we're making good time. Like, considering everything that we've changed since we tore her apart, we're looking good, you know? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was short, but I kind of wanted to just update you guys and keep you posted on everything that's going on with Miss Parker, because unfortunately, you know, every video can't be a big install. I wish it could be, but it's crazy how many things are back ordered. And like I said, like, you don't really realize, if you guys are not building a car, you spend X amount of money to get a big item, and then depending on your setup and your build and how things are different from you know, the next guy's build, there's little things that need to be purchased and sent to the house, and some of those are on back order in order for everything to work out for your particular build. So that's kind of where we're at right now, just waiting for little parts to come in just so we can button up everything and get it all finalized and dialed in. But yeah, we're looking good, so I'm stoked. Give you guys one more look at the car. Oh, here's another thing that I'm torn about. So now that we're going to, I guess this is like V2 of Miss Parker, I'm torn between, do we leave these headlights with the air duct to the turbo? You know, even though they're all old, they just look cool and they kind of, I don't know, it's a part of Miss Parker at this point. Or do we put in the new headlights with LEDs, which I've had in the house for months, which I do think will clean up the look of the car tremendously, and you know, Miss Parker will just look like a more respectable race car at that point. But I don't know, I just kind of really like the air duct headlight look. I wasn't expecting it to turn out so good when I initially did it. That's why I already had new headlights in the house as a backup plan. I kind of just did it just to do it because we had this little vent thing and it was just an idea I had, so we did it, and it turned out really cool. And yeah, after I saw how it turned out, I was just like, well damn, now I don't want to take them off. But I need your guys' opinions in the comments down below. Do we leave the headlights the way they are, or as a part of everything that we're doing to Miss Parker, is it time to just, you know, take these headlights off and put in some new headlights with LEDs just to complete the whole new transformation of Miss Parker? Drop a comment down below. I need your help, guys, because I can't make up my mind. I know that the car would look beautiful with new headlights and LEDs, like it would just change the whole demeanor of the car, but I mean, am I right? So I think I'm gonna end the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are stoked with the progress that we have made on Miss Parker and where the build is going. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Be easy.